Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our 2024 AGM. We're going to get started here now and get into things. And we're going to share my screen and we'll get going with everything that's on here. Now we're going to give this a second, make sure it comes through okay on the other side of things, but we should be good to go. Happy? Excellent. Okay, so welcome everyone. Back around for another year, back into it all again. It's the type thing where there's a lot of work that goes on in the background that people don't see throughout the year, and a lot of work that we don't see when you get into a day like this. And I'm sure there's been loads of people emailing us over the last 24 hours, and we've ignored half of them and gotten to the other half and tried to get some sorted. So it's been a bit of fun, but welcome. Delighted to have people here in the room, delighted to have people online talking to us today and involved in the conversation. So we're going to get into it all today. To give you an idea of what we're going to go through, we're going to go through the minutes from last year. I'm going to give a quick update on what we've done as an association from myself as the chairperson. Annette's going to come in then and give an update on the treasurer side of things and where the monies are at and what we're spending money on and what we're doing. We'll give an update on the membership. I'm going to take that today because Brian couldn't make it today with family commitments. And then we're going to come to the elections, the important bit of it all, and see what's going on there. So people will have gotten the voting this morning in email to vote, just confirm that you've gotten that. And then with that, we'll take a little break just to collate the voting and make sure that people are gotten it all done. We'll close it off then, and then we'll come back with the results. Thomas will come back with the results. And then at the end of it all, we have a bit of time for motions for what people want to discuss or see that we want to do. And then we'll come to summary and close. So with that, Thomas, I'm going to hand it over to yourself for the AGM minutes.
Thanks. The 2023 AGM minutes are as follows. Okay, the chairperson opened the meeting. The minutes of the 2022 AGM were read by the secretary. The chairperson reflected on how associations changed and expanded over the years, discussed the work that's ahead on wider EV adoption, moving beyond new private vehicle purchasers to second-hand purchasers and commercial and fleet vehicles, and the associated infrastructure developments that will be required for that. Some of the changes being proposed to the association, this AGM, are intended to better enable our work on that. Thanked outgoing committee members and Facebook moderation team for the work this past year. The treasurer presented the annual treasurer's report for the period ended 9th of April 2023. An update was provided on association membership and followers on various platforms. Official membership has grown to over 2,300 individuals with a dozen corporate members, and our Facebook group had increased to 16,000 participants. The individuals seeking election or re-election to the committee were highlighted, with first-time candidates given the opportunity to speak to their candidacy. Full members were then asked to submit their votes online on the election of committee members and proposed executive chair. The following committee positions were elected by members: Chairperson Matthew Seeley, Vice Chair Annette Lenchicona, Secretary Thomas Maguire, Events Officer Derek Riley, IT Officer Roland Kreine, Officers without portfolio Kevin Dowling, Blake Boland, Inga Davidson, Brian Hickson, Tony Joyce, and Darby Mullen. And finally, Eamon Stack was approved as Executive Chair. A number of motions were submitted. One, to change the association's name to Irish Electric Vehicle Association, or IEVA. Two, to create an executive chair position with Eamon Stack being proposed. Three, to seek abolition of pre-authorization charges. Four, to campaign for more EV chargers in Donegal. And five, to create a group to lobby the government for improved charging infrastructure and changes to driving test. The first two and final motions were proposed and adopted, and our outgoing chair then closed the meeting. Thanks.
Thanks, Thomas. So we'll come back to myself on this side. So from my side, so kick off post-AGM. So as Thomas has highlighted there, Kevin stepped back as chair last year, but stayed on the committee. And I took up the role as chairperson as it was last year, and something I was excited to do and excited to get involved with and see what was going on. So what changed? So I suppose with the name change, the Irish EV Owners Association became the Irish EV Association. So I used the term new logo, which was very much our old logo, but we removed the O out of the middle of it. So we simplified things for ourselves. We had debated about many different things that we were going to do, but in the end, it felt it still represented what we were trying to do and what we were representing. So we stayed with it as it was. And then knew everything else. It grew from there as well at the same time. So we ended up trying to bring everything together to bring it all to fruition as the Irish EV Association. So our website, any emails, all that sort of IT work that, Roland has looked after for us and gotten it right. So, new website, new social media, trying to get things into place, bringing it back to life. In some cases with the likes of Instagram, where we hadn't been active in a while, and trying to get stuff back in there, but bringing it all to a point where, we were being able to use things in a better format. So one of the things that came with that was actually around HubSpot, and we made a change, and that wasn't straight away. It took a little bit of time, but we got to a point where we have gone to a paid HubSpot account. And the reason for that was around I would use the term simplicity behind a paid HubSpot account. So it has allowed us to actually implement much faster, much quicker, and being able to get information out to our members in an easier format. The free one just didn't work well enough. We had evaluated a lot of options, and in fairness, Roland had gone through all of them to see what was there. We came back to HubSpot, which we were already using in free fashion, to go with a paid version because it really worked for us to do more. It allowed us to connect all social media together and get all of our information in one place. That it really simplified our flow, and it made our lives as committee members and what we needed to do much easier. So it was a really important thing to do. With that, we had Annette coming along as treasurer, as long as vice chair. And with that as well, with Kevin's position and where we stood with Kevin being on the name for these accounts, was to get Kevin out of there, because as it was, we don't need individual names being on there. We wanted it to be the association, not an individual within the association. So there was a bunch of work behind that. That included a new PTSB business account. So opening up a new account, because the old account didn't work and they wouldn't let us use it in just changing the names, because they wanted us to have a new account based on where we were now at this point in time and what we were doing. So we have that now. With that, Stripe is set up and HubSpot is set up, so that is the association. It's not an individual anymore. So it's taking it away from the fact that one person isn't the crux and the part that needs to control everything and drive it. So that's been work that's been done in the last while. And on top of that, then PR. So we put a PR team together insofar as we had put it to individuals in the past. This time we decided to make it a bit more open, so a couple of people could get involved. So we've seen that throughout the year, where a number of people have actually gotten into things where I've done some work, Thomas has done some of it, Annette has done some of it, and we've spread the load amongst the committee rather than leaving it to an individual on their own. The other bit of it that was at the association last year was the executive officer role, and Eamon Stack had taken this up. This didn't work out in the way we wanted to, or Eamon wanted to on his side either, largely in part because of where Eamon was at with his own work. Insofar as Annette and I and Eamon would sit down weekly and have a call, we got to the point where, we had a call with Eamon on one day and he couldn't make it because he was trying to drive home from where he was working. He was 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night with his own business, still trying to get jobs done. There was nights where he was actually still in his office working when he was having a phone call with us. So we got to the point where it just wasn't viable to keep going in that position. So we took it and brought it to a halt, partly because Roland had done the work with HubSpot and getting to a point where we could simplify things. We felt we could take it on as a committee to actually keep doing the work we were doing, that we had that little bit more bandwidth on our side with these things that were taking a lot of time to pass, that we were able to make the change as well. So, to thank Eamon for his work and what he had done. We had spent a lot of time working on things, trying to get it in place, and it didn't work out overall, but we kind of readjusted and kept going. Which brings us to, throughout the year, events. So we've had events from non-members, members, and corporate alike. The Nevo EV show was a big one at the start of this year. It's coming again late in this year, and with the guys in Avani in Northern Ireland, being able to sit with them on a stand and talk to people was a great thing, where we could represent the whole of Ireland as EV associations. So that's been a great thing to do, and we hope to do more. And we have the spring meet up today for people to come and get involved. With membership, individual and corp, we've tried to do a bit more work around there for the individual. That's been our focus. So Roland, Brian and I have sat down at different points throughout the year and trying to work on this. It's not where we want it to be yet. We still have more work to do, but we're going to keep going on that and try to do more for the individuals that are members of the EV Association. And with that, I would say we've taken a step back slightly on the corporate membership side and how many we have and who we're engaging with, because we're trying to get more involved that are actually going to bring a benefit to our members. And that's been our approach. Looking at charging infrastructure and lobbying, ZEVI and SEAI talks have continued throughout the year. A really interesting one is at the Nevo show, we had a leaflet that had the Irish EV Association and SEAI and the Irish government on the same leaflet. So our work has been in collaboration with these people to get ourselves to that point and to be at that level where we're getting involved at that point. ZEVI, obviously important, ESBE cars and other CPOs, those conversations are also important from a price perspective and what goes on there. And of course, as I say, Ivani and the Faster Project, reading out to those guys, getting involved, helping out there and helping to give the information for what's been going on from that side of things across all of Ireland. That's been an important part. And then with PR, to kind of touch on it, we presented with Geotab last year, one of our corporate members, but a large international company that for the first time we are now starting as an association to get into a lot more conversations on that side, to present the information, to give people information. And Geotab are interesting because they are fleet management and getting fleets to change. So one of their tools that they're trying to bring forward is for fleets to analyze what they're currently doing and what they can move towards EV. So between our information to them and learning from them, we've been able to understand things better. And with that, we have had articles in national print paper and online, radio interviews and EV awards and judging throughout the year. So we're getting involved in a lot more things throughout the year, which has been great as an association. So one of the important things with that and midterm was actually our midterm review as a committee, and we had a strategy day. So we sat down in Moneygall in Barack Obama Plaza as a committee with as much of us as we could, and we actually have come together with a bit of a plan. So as we were going throughout the year, and even what we see at the minute with what is a media narrative around EVs and what's going on there, we had kind of, I wouldn't say foreseen this, but understood what was going on. So we came along with 3 pillars, and what we wanted to try doing, that's something we will continue to do into this coming year, is how-to guides and FAQs are common things that we see coming through from members that are new. With the corporate membership, as I said, we want to try to bring more benefits to the individuals, but to have the right corporate members come in and actually have a benefit for people. And then with use cases and personas, we need to tell the story about EVs. We need to tell what's the good, and to actually give people a picture of that the doom and gloom that they might read about isn't all that is there. It's not factually true when you start getting into it. The majority of people, and I think there was a poll on our Facebook page recently where I think 5% of people said they'd go back to a diesel or petrol car, and the other 95% said they would stay in EV. That's a big thing where there are people who are in the wrong car at the minute in an EV who might have medical issues or need to do certain things where it just isn't right for them now because the charging infrastructure isn't there. We have to appreciate that, but we need to look at it to see what we can do for them and get it right, and to give where the use cases are now, where it is right for people, to give the people the information behind that. And that's to look ahead, more lobbying, more communications and PR, trying to do more to get it clearer for people and to get more of the correct information out there. People will take it in different ways, be it technical, be it emotional, be it political. We need to look at it from all avenues and understand how people are taking the information in and how they're using it on their side. And with that, things like EV myth bustings is a big thing I've had come back from committee members that they want to look at. People want to get more involved with events and try to get to meet people more. I think that's one of the things that we'd like to do, and it's get to know people. Getting people into trying EV, that's a big step. To somebody who has never sat in one is going to be very reluctant until they drive it, and all of a sudden they realize the difference that it is to be in one. And information sharing. So example is the info circuit. We had the first one last month. We have the second one coming this Tuesday. We've had Weave for the first one. We're going to have ePower for our second one, but we're going to sit down as a committee probably for the third or fourth one, do a bit of our own stuff, get people in and talk about it. And we're going to continue that information sharing. So that's going to be use cases, personas, that sort of stuff will come from there. And finally, a big thank you to the committee for the last year, and people have been involved. There's been a lot of work. People have done a lot of things. We're losing a few people, unfortunately. as is the way it goes. Kevin, who was former chair, is not going to continue on any further, so he is stepping back from the committee. We are also losing Tony, who was involved for last year, who has been involved with things for just the year, but has decided to step back just from work. He's too busy. And finally, Inge is stepping back as well because he's looking to look at other things and see what else he can do. So big thank you to the people that are leaving us, but a big thank you to the whole committee for the whole year and what has gone on from that side. So now with that, I'll hand it over to Annette from the Treasury report.
Thanks, Matthew. So I'll start off here, just with the opening balance from last year was 16,137 euros and some small change. Our income for the year between corporate membership and individual membership was 6,800 euros. Our expenditure this year was probably up since last year, and the main reasons for that was the cost of HubSpot and our executive chair employee as well. So those two were 4,500 euros and 3,000 euros. So the main things other than that we spent money on were bank fees, AGM expenses, events was 2,264 euros 60 cents, revenue, corporation tax. So we had to make a preliminary payment for that for this year for 1,471 euros. And we also bought some flags that we can use at events, and they were 608 euros. And some IT expenses, they were 220 euros. So in total, our expenditure for the year was 12,715 euros and 4 cents. And our closing balance from our last meeting was the one bank account with PTSB is 10,162 euros and 49 cents. So that's it.
Excellent. Thank you, Annette.
No bother. Thank you.
So we'll move on to the members update, and as I said, Brian can't make it, so I'm going to go through it here as to what it was. So when we look at what we have at this stage, so we've just over 3,000 official members, so that's what's on our HubSpot account on the CRM side of things that we are sending our newsletters to and contacting from that side. We have 210 2024 paid members. So that's up by about 70 paid individuals from this time last year. It's something we're going to try to keep working on as a committee to keep growing, because that's what we want, is people to come in and see the benefit from paying their membership and fee as well. And that helps us keep things moving, keep going to events. You know, there are some costs with these things that come with events, as we've just seen. So trying to keep that moving and, you know, just keep things going in the right direction on that side. We've nearly 24,500 Facebook group members. We see a lot of requests daily for people to come in and join that. We actually do stop a lot of them from coming in. So, you know, if we let it in willy-nilly, you'd probably see that grow massively. But it's a controlled growth is the term I would use, because we're just not letting anybody and everybody into it. Nearly 1,700 Twitter followers and 1,200 on LinkedIn and 1,730 on YouTube. All of those are growth. They've all come up by between 50 and 80% of what it was last year. Again, Instagram has grown to 784. It's our smallest platform in the grand scheme of things, but it's still one that we have posts going out to, and we're trying to control with, I suppose, information, getting it out there and making sure people are aware. And then I have 8 corporate members listed here. I think we had 11 or 12 last year off the top of my head. So we've brought it back down a bit because we don't need as many, because they're not giving anything into it. Some of them have come in, have, you know, tried to do some work. It hasn't worked in the way they wanted or what we wanted. So we've kind of happily parted ways, is the way I would put it, because it doesn't always work with these things when they come in, but we're trying to work to make it as beneficial for people. So with that, who we have at the minute as our corporate members, so we have Nevo, who've been a long-term corporate member at this point in time, ePower, who are great to work with and have conversations with. They're continuously coming back to us with ideas and things they want to do. So it's fantastic to have them on board. ESB eCars, and obviously with the work and involvement that goes on there and what we're trying to do. Go Pluggable, to see Go Pluggable Adrian's here today, and great to have them on board. Bright Rapid Charge, which are the latest in the CPOs that are up in Galway. It's fantastic to see them on board. It's fantastic to see what Tesla are doing in terms of time of use pricing and trying to bring it at a price point that's more affordable than what was there. And we're looking forward to working with them a bit further as they expand. We know some of their plans, and we're not going to give it away, but they're working to bring things out further. Geotab, as I say, from the fleet management and what they're doing and how they help, from our information into them and from what they're able to give back to us, has been fantastic. And then Weave, it's fantastic to have Weave on board. With the Faster project, we're starting to see them pop up on those border regions, but we know they're coming throughout the rest of Ireland, so it's going to be a great thing to see them. And one that people probably haven't seen yet but are going to be aware of is My Energy. So My Energy have only come on the last week. We are only starting the conversation with them. We have to see what we're going to do with them down the line, but it's great to have them on board and get involved with things from that side, from what's all to be done there. So the interesting bits that when we look at it, how we engage via Facebook is one of the things that Roland's been able to pull out for me and put up here. So we're talking about, in a very short period of time, just over the year, we've over 6,000 posts that have gone up there. Again, I go back to, there's a lot of admin goes on in behind it about what's approved or not allowed. It is a kind of, it's time consuming for people that are involved in it. So we have a lot of engagement. We can see here a lot of growth. We're up over 242% on what's been posted and commented on. We're up 80% on what's been viewed. So a lot of people are looking at a lot of information that goes on there. And Inge, with the top of the pile and what he's done in terms of activity, so nearly 2,500 posts being approved over the course of a year is a huge amount of posts from one individual to keep an eye on. That's a considerable sum. But there's a lot, again, Thomas done a lot here as well on it. So it's a fantastic thing to see how it's growing. It's our main channel for where people come in and have the conversation. That's where the Facebook groups have gone these days, is it's a forum for people to talk to one another. But as I said, we need to control it, that it doesn't get too far out of hand and that people aren't just posting rubbish, but we need to get information out there and allow some of the conversation to go on with these things. Moving on to HubSpot then. So this is where I wouldn't call it the bulk of our work, but from an IT perspective and what we as a committee have been using to try and make things easier, better on our side and trying to drive things along has been one of the greatest things. So we can see on the top left here, traffic on our website and what's gone on over date. It's grown. It got into a peak in January when people are looking at new cars. You can see the peak for when people are looking for information, and it's come back off. I suspect because we only got it really going properly in July of last year, we'll see another bump as we come to the 242 registers. We'll see another uptick on people coming to us again. But a lot of it is actually coming, thankfully, from organic searches. Some of it is direct traffic, people actually that are aware of it already, but a lot of it is organic, where people are finding us through a Google search. And in the bottom left here is an interesting one, is if you go to our website, you'll see a text box, a chat. So with that, it actually comes to us as a committee. So it comes into the couple of us that have it on our app on our phone. So when you come in asking a question, it's actually one of us responding back to you on what's in there. And that's, something that is good because it gives a bit of information for people there. And then it's a direct question, but we also get an idea of what's going on and to help give people the right information. So there's been a lot on there. Roland's done a lot of it. I've done a bit where I can as well, and other people as well are trying to get involved with it. So it's been a fantastic thing in that regard. The interesting thing about it all, that is, while Facebook is our largest group, it's actually not the biggest one when we look in the bottom right here. So actually LinkedIn is our biggest avenue of where we see people engaging with what we post out there, followed by X, which is formerly Twitter. So again, I don't know what we can do with that, but again, we posted on our Facebook, I suppose it's a page as what we are, and then we bring it to the Facebook group, and that's how information gets shared. So it's probably not an ideal way, but it's the way we have to do things when we want to get it through Facebook as it is. It probably hinders what we see here in terms of engagement, but it is what we can do, and it's the best we can do with what they're currently. So with that, we're moving on to the elections, and I'm going to hand it over to Thomas.
Thanks, Matthew. As Matthew was saying, we have a number of officers who aren't seeking re-election this year, but we also have a number that are. A lot of us are seeking re-election to whatever position we're currently in, essentially. So you will see that. For chair, Matthew Seeley. For vice chair and treasurer, Annette Lynch Conway. For secretary, Thomas McGuire. Membership, Brian Hickson. Events officer, Derek Riley. IT officer, Ron Kreina. And officers without portfolio, Blake Boland and Darby Mullen. And we also have 3 individuals who are seeking election to the committee for the first time. We're going to give them a quick chance to speak there. We have Carol Coates, Andrine Mendez, and Bogdan Duzel. And we have some short videos to play on them.
Hi, my name is Andrine Mendez. I'm based in Drogheda, Louth. I'm a marketing professional and an entrepreneur. Graduated from DKIT, originally from India, living here in Ireland for the last 4 years. Used to live in Dundalk for a while before that. I've been driving an EV for the last 4 years. Started from Nissan Leaf to Volkswagen ID4 and now a Model 3. My business is called Go Pluggable. Essentially, we are building a private network of EV chargers by doing a P2P network with both homes and businesses. It's early stage. When I looked at the nomination for being a part of committee within IEVA, I was interested because obviously my interest in the space of EVs as a driver and as a business owner, I kind of feel that I can potentially contribute to the day-to-day workings, and also as a marketer, as a content creator, I kind of put a lot of content out there around EVs and the lifestyle behind driving in EVs, etc. I feel I can contribute there in terms of giving the right information about this, bringing more people to be part of the association, and of course contribute in terms of helping more people switch to electric. So thanks for considering my nomination, and I look forward to being a part of working with the association members to further help more EV drivers. Thank you.
Hey guys, my name is Bogdan and I'm 42-year-old individual from Poland in Krakow. I work here as a graphic designer and bookbinder for about 7 years. I'm deeply passionate about electric cars and the new technologies. I think they will have very positive impact on our environment. Outside of my work, I enjoy running. I'm also a big fan of any type of music, and occasionally I play as a DJ. I have many ideas and massive commitment to build a brighter future. I am eager to contribute to your team and help shape a more sustainable Ireland. I think EVs will revolutionize our transportation and they will contribute to a cleaner and more sustainable future. I hope you guys enjoyed a little video that I put together for you, and I wish you have a nice day. See you.
Hi guys, how you doing? Just like to introduce myself. My name is Carl Coates. I'm from Gorey and Wexford, originally from Clondalkin in Dublin. I'm 42 years of age, and I'm looking to get involved with the Irish EV Association. I'm a family man. I've got 3 young kids and a lovely wife from Kerry. I work with Iarnród Éireann. I'm based in Rosslare Europort down in Wexford. I'm the ICT Business Relationship Manager for both Rosslare Europort and actually the rail freight business nationally here in Ireland. I'm currently a driver of a MG4. I've got it about 6 months. I'm delighted with it. Lovely car. It's actually the 3rd car that we've had in the family with a plug in it. First one being in 2018. We had a 24 kilowatt Nissan Leaf that served us well. Progressed then, bought my wife a Mitsubishi Outlander plug-in hybrid, still in the driveway. Gets the kids around on the battery most of the time to crash into school. I've got 2 young girls, 6 and 4, and then the newest fella, he's 2 years old. His name is Shay. Mad about Dad's MG4. Really enjoys when I stick it into sport mode and get the rear wheel drive going. I suppose the reason why I'd like to be considered for the role on the committee, I'm a massive advocate and believer in EVs and the transition to electric. I want to get more people interested in EVs. I'm always trying to get people either in my car or get them to drive my car to convince them. I have a big passion for renewable energy and technology. I work in technology and innovation day to day, working on large scale capital projects, and I see what's coming down the line in relation to energy generation, and there's a lot of potential for Ireland and for ourselves and our generation to see what we leave behind for our kids. But I'm big into the future for battery storage, for solar PV, for potentially using our vehicles as static batteries, so vehicle to grid, vehicle to X. The possibilities, as a lot of you know, are endless, but I think it's important for us to be a vessel to get the information out to the wider public, and it's really important that we set the standard going forward. Now, as we all know, EVs aren't for everybody, but I think the time has come that the adoption rate is improving, and the technology and the availability of cars is there to be seen, and it's a really exciting time to be involved in the area of electric vehicles and the transition itself. So thank you very much for your time. See you all soon.
We're back.
All right. Thanks everyone for that. As you may have seen there, you will have received an email to be able to vote in the elections now. So we'd ask that you finish that in the next few minutes. We're going to take a short break now. We'll be back with the results of the election and then the motions before closing out. So probably about 10-minute break, I believe. Thanks. See you in a few.
Mark. No, we're back.
All right, we're back, everyone. Okay, bring to you now the results of the election. We had 58 members voting in the election, and the minimum approval was 79%. So now present to you the 2024 IEVA committee. We have Chair Matthew Seeley, Vice Chair and Treasurer Annette Lynch-Conway, Secretary Thomas McGuire, Membership Officer Brian Hickson, Events Officer Drake Riley, IT Officer Ron Kreina, and officers with no portfolio: Blake Boland, Darby Mullen, Carla Coates, Andreen Mendez, and Bogdan Duzel. So move on now to the motions for 2024.
Thank you, Thomas. And we only have one motion this year as to what we have. And this is something that we as a committee have looked at in the last couple of, I suppose, weeks and months as to what we can do to help improve things on our side to make it a bit better. So one of the things we wanted to bring forward, and it's the only one that we have today to debate on and see what people think, is what we have as the associate membership, which is what has been the free membership. So we're looking at it from a perspective to see about removing this in the constitution and everything that goes with it, insofar as we want to have it so that a non-paying member can still have access to our Facebook, can still have access to the social media, the newsletter that goes on with it, that we are giving this information out there freely, that there's nothing to it. But we wanted to make it to be easier for us to control, and in many ways, insofar as when we look at the corporate members and what we're trying to do there, and with what is an individual who's a paid member, that they have access to the Slack setup with the conversation and what goes on there, but also the membership discount. So the work that we're trying to bring forward with that is to make it more manageable, because at the minute we have two different lists that we're trying to control and bring together, and we're trying to narrow it down to make sure that people are paid. In part, we've talked about it from an IT perspective, myself and Roland, is how we integrate Stripe and HubSpot together and making sure we get the information together. We're still working on that to get it right. And with that, we're feeling that this is a way to help bring us forward, where you're a paid member and you have benefits that come with that. That's what we're trying to do. So with that, there are a number of changes in the Constitution that are written. I don't have them here at the minute. I don't know, Thomas, I don't know if I can share them or not, but effectively the changes are insofar as to remove the word associate membership as to what's there. And we are trying to see about how that brings, but we want to have people here in the room, and I suppose people online, they can put a chat and send us messages on it as well to see what they think. Our idea is to simplify things. It's to make it easier for us as a community to know where we're putting our effort into what we are doing. And that is the intention behind this motion. So I'm going to open it up for debate and people's thoughts.
So when you remove it, what happens? Is there no free membership then?
No free membership, but it's not to say that anything that what is free currently. So the question is free membership, does it go away, I suppose? And no, free membership is, you're just not called what a member of the Irish EV Association, but all of what exists currently still exists. So that isn't being taken away from that perspective. It just is a simplification of to what is considered a member effectively.
Effectively a name, a title.
It's a title, yes.
So that would mean the free members would be subscribers and not members. Subscribers.
Yes, so yes, so you would be a subscriber rather than a member at that point in time to the Irish EV Association. Simon?
So just to be clear, what that would mean if this passes is that the membership count would go down from 3,000 or whatever it is now to 200.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's a drop in subscription, drop in membership as to what's listed on it. Yes.
I'm just trying to think what the optics of that are, and whether that is something you thought about. I don't have a strong opinion one way or the other. I understand what you're trying to do.
Yes.
I think it's the right move, but I just wonder how you're going to carry that message more in a public forum. And obviously what you want to try and do is drive the paid membership up.
Yeah.
And how you're going to do that is something I'm sure you've thought about, but
So
just an observation.
yeah, to summarize, I suppose in case people can't hear properly online is, it's the optics behind that change, that we understand by doing it, that it's going in a fashion that people are communicated clearly on it, and that when we bring it about, that people understand why we're making a change, what the difference is between it. That's fair, Simon?
Yeah, and I suppose what I always found useful when I was involved was, like, if you step into a room, say with Zevi, you can say I represent 3,000 members. Now, if you can only say I represent 500 members, does that give you the same?
So okay, so no, and to your
I'm
point,
just throwing it out there.
yeah. So I suppose from my own perspective, when I go into different corporate members or have the conversation about what our membership base is, we do talk about it with different corporate members that are prospective or different groups as to what we represent. I think the big thing that we always say is we have a small number of paid members. We've always had a small number of paid members. We've had a larger number of people that are the associate membership, which has been free membership. And then we've talked about what has been the reaching behind the social media side of things that we have on the other side of it. That is the much bigger groups that exist. And I've never had an issue with any of those conversations when I've gone into a room with people or meeting them in a conference or whatever the case may be, where they felt that what we were doing was less impactful because we only had a couple of hundred paid members. That hasn't been an impact from what we've had on that side of things. So I wouldn't say with this change that I would say that conversation would change. Would we have? I don't think it would be less impactful. Just how we worded it would be different, I suppose, is the way I would put it.
This is one comment from
Yep.
online. Just going to come on the screen shortly.
In your lobbying government, would you use membership numbers? So as it stands at the minute, no, we don't use membership numbers when we're lobbying at the minute. We are lobbying based on the fact that we have a lot of people that are already on our Facebook page that are commenting, we're seeing issues, but we're also representing people that have no idea that we're there. So the way I would put it is that we're trying to work on it, that it doesn't matter if you're aware of the Irish TV Association, whether you're a member or not, we're trying to make the improvement for everybody. So when we look at it as to, do they have to be a member? Is that the thing that we bring to the forefront? No, that's not the most critical bit of information that we're bringing. The critical bit of info is what we're trying to do and what is the best thing for what we see coming back from the people that do engage with us, and to make that aware.
Make a comment on that. Caption headlines I've seen in the newspapers recently: 40% decrease in EV ownership this year. And then the next comment is going to come out and possibly in the newspaper: 90% or 95% decrease in EV owner membership. That's the caption. It's not. It's a lie. But the fact is, that's the caption. You can't go and fight that caption.
Yep.
And some way of phrasing it in another way, that they are active in this, following, interested in electric cars without actually just crossing them out in a pencil. Yeah. I don't know the word yet because I've only really read this now, but some way of actually saying there's these many people who are following us and are joining us, are following us, as opposed to just say they're not associated with the members.
Yes.
And that, so the newspapers don't have a legal way of actually scrubbing us.
Yeah,
they like the headlines.
Yeah.
If you understand me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and sort of as a follow-up to that, and then going slightly off subject, have the associate members ever been surveyed as to why it is they aren't actually paid members of the association? I can't imagine in this day and age that the annual fee is a major obstacle to anyone becoming a member. Is there some other reason why they're not becoming members?
Yeah.
And could we perhaps survey them to see what it is that they would, what is that thing that would help them become a paid member instead of just simply being an associate member. And as a follow-up to that and the comments we've had so far, rather than pushing perhaps this particular change through immediately, during, say, the course of this coming year, if we were to let it be known that certain benefits might be withdrawn from associate members from, let's say, this time next year, and therefore, if you wish to continue to receive the benefits of the association, we strongly encourage that you join as a paid-up member between now and, as I say, some future date. I'm not putting a specific date. But, you know, let's have a period where we can perhaps bring the members in. And again, I agree 100% that if the media were to find out about this, absolutely first thing they would do is headline the massive decrease in, as they would put it, membership, even though officially they're not paid up members, but yeah, they'll do that.
So
I was just going to say, because there has been work to try and like get associate members to become full members over the years, and I tried to do that when I was involved, and I don't think it's the money, because the fee used to be 10 and we put it up to 20 a couple of years ago. So, but even when it was 10, it was only ever a couple of hundred paid up members. So I think, yeah, the gist of it is, the direction of travel is to make it more beneficial to be a paid member. So if you're 20 quid, what are you actually getting? And I think that's where the kind of sticking point is. So yeah, I think if there's a period of time where you can say, okay, we're dropping this, but in a year's time you'll get X, Y, Z benefits in being a paid up member, then yeah, maybe that's.
Yeah, that's also why we have been very targeted with the, say, corporate memberships, because of course we want to see with corporate members as well, what is the benefit that a paid member could actually have from that, whether it's a discount, whether, basically make the money's worth for being a member by having the benefits then from the suppliers. And that's also when we looked at the corporate memberships, is to see, well, what's the benefit they actually bring to our membership base, and how do we influence that so that actually there's a benefit to each member as a result.
I just wondered if you have made any efforts to recruit members through the people who purchase EVs. Like, it took me 4 months to find out that you existed. And I have been actively looking for some kind of an organisation, because there's nowhere to get any kind of beneficial advice about repairs, about anything, the existence of chargers outside of the Dublin area, anything like that. And I accidentally came upon the date of this meeting, and I said, oh, I must join this, it looks hopeful. Rather than being informed that there is an association to join that will be helpful to you when I was purchasing the car. So have you any connections at all with the garages or with the SEAI who provide the grants?
we do with SEAI, and that's something that, so with connections to them, we do, and that's something that we are trying to work on. So I would say it is only in the last 2 to 3 months that SEAI and ourselves as an association have been talking to one another in terms of working together. So the Nevo EV show with the pamphlet that went out there was the first time that we've worked with them in terms of, new EV owners guiding information that's behind that. So yes, we have not had that engagement with SEAI before, but it is something we're starting to get involved with them and to help them with their work in what they give out and what goes on the other side. But similarly, it's something
weird. That's very weird, because I've been interacting with SEAI since about November, and on a weekly basis, in order, where's my grant and what's happening and this and that, and what about the usage of electricity, all the usual questions that I need to ask to somebody. I have been addressing to SEAI, and they say, sorry, it's not our area of expertise, we really wouldn't know, I have no idea. And I say, do you have a job for me? And they say, well, no. I said, well, then where is your training coming from? And they have absolutely no idea at all about EVs.
And again, we've only had that first proper engagement with them recently. and it's something that we would like to progress and keep working with them. Yes, and to do more and to make them, and that's part of what we're trying to do with the likes of Geotab, is actually to make Geotab more informed of what we see, allows them to go into fleet management and talk to people in businesses to get into EVs, to give them accurate information of what's happening here in Ireland. So again, that's something we would like to do with the SEAI and go with that from that perspective.
I agree, it's very weird because SEI, everyone that I know in SEI knows we exist and we've talked to them for years.
Yeah.
So
it's a strange one.
You're unfortunate in finding someone new through the door, but I mean, they are, we've been
Pretty
broadly
good.
aligned with SEI for years.
Yeah. So I'm going to take it that this motion probably isn't being accepted as to what it is here today. And I think I accept the discussion in the room behind that as to why we're not going to accept it. I think that's valid. I think surveying our members as to why they're associated and not a paid member is something that we need to look at and do. I think we need to look at the benefits that come over the next year and see what's been done, and to make this a bit of our conversation over the next year to see, is it appropriate? Is it still appropriate in 12 months' time? We weren't expecting this to be a complete yes straight away. We wanted it to be discussion and get people's views and the understanding. So we can't do that without putting it out to something like this at our AGM. So it's important to have that discussion and for people to come back with the ideas and thoughts. It's where we are at and our thinking. But I'm going to take it that we're not accepting what's here today, which is fine. We will leave it that way.
Yeah, there's a few comments on it.
Would it be better perhaps to target to convert more associate members paid over the next year, improve benefits, and reconsider then? Yes. So Brian, absolutely. Yes, I think that's what we'll do. That's what we'll work on, and that's what we'll take out of this and go from there. Okay. So summary and close. Thank you very much for everybody who's attended today. Those who have attended online, it's been great to have people engaged and coming online. We're just over the hour, so I'm going to say thank you for everybody for voting and for the confidence in the committee for the past year, and for the committee again for this coming year, and for everybody that's involved. Congratulations to Andreen, Bogdan and Carol for becoming members of the committee. We're looking forward to working with them and trying to give them a few jobs, get them to do a few things. We'll make sure they have something to do. So in that regard, yes, thank you very much to everyone that's been here today, and we'll talk to you again next year. Thank you very much.